In this episode of Lore Explore, we discuss the Levitation Act and the decline of levitation magic over the centuries in Tamriel. The Levitation Act. This act was legislated in the year 3E 421, restricting the use of levitation magic. Despite the act, levitation magic was still prevalent in Morrowind, up until at least the late Third Era, most notably by Telvanni wizards, whose towers required the knowledge of levitation magic in order to reach the upper levels. Levitation spells were still being sold by members of the Mages Guild after the passing of the Act, and were even sold by vendors serving the Imperial Legion in Castle Ebonheart. Levitation was nevertheless banned in the capital city of Mournhold by the will of Almalexia. The province of Morrowind was out of the law's jurisdiction, thanks to the armistice between Morrowind and the Cyrodiilic Empire, which allowed a large degree of autonomy for the people of Morrowind. The knowledge of levitation magic was largely lost by 4E40 and almost unheard of for many years prior. Some individuals retained what knowledge there was, including a synod mage named Lazarum, who apparently knew of a levitation spell in the year 4E08. A potion brewed with the ichor of a winged twilight was supposedly used by two individuals to travel to the floating city of Umbriel. The Imperial Legion also briefly used levitation magic in their battle with Umbriel.
The Levitation Act was passed in 3E421, and the events of Morrowind happened in 3E427. So 6 years before we landed in Seythanine, this act was passed. But levitation spells were still common in Morrowind. Why would someone pass such a rule? So what's the issue with levitation? If some mages can float like this, it's a big disadvantage for law enforcement, right? For the guards. Maybe that was an issue. People are buying scrolls, levitation scrolls from shops, and then falling to death because of poor training or whatever. So that was an issue. And maybe an emperor did not like people peeking into the windows of home. That's so funny. I read this somewhere in the forum. There are reasons why the empire would pass such a rule to ban levitation, but it feels like a ridiculous act, because in the world of Elder Scrolls, you can use necromancy, you can soul trap, you can summon powerful Daedra, you can alter the weather, you can blot the sun, but then flying over a town or flying over vast distances for safe transportation, that's banned. That doesn't make any sense to me. It seemed very logical why they have this in the lore. And if I looked at the real reason, and this tweet tells me that. So there's a message by the UASP admin. He says that NPCs now, after the Morrowind game, had schedules instead of just standing in one place all the time. Between this and other console limitations, cities were put in their own cells. Because of this, levitation was cut. Okay, that's the issue. So cities were put in their own cells. So if you levitate and enter a city, and all you would find is empty space. Ultimately, it's an excuse. So essentially, the lore is tailored because of technical reasons. So that sounds sad. And there are some arguments of getting it back to Elder Scrolls 6, because if a new game like Harry Potter, right? If you can fly with a broom, so why can't Elder Scrolls 6 introduce levitation again? So this technical excuse is unacceptable. Because levitation is awesome. You can explore in 3 dimensions. So you have 2 dimensions right now, forward or backward, sideways. But if you add a 3rd dimension, it's great.